Hi, I'm Tim Scales, the Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and the host of In Your Business. Today we're going to meet with two entrepreneurs that are here local in Richmond, Indiana. They're in the insurance business. And I've watched each of these individuals grow and develop as entrepreneurs, and they're doing a fantastic job. So it's going to be really fun and exciting to learn from them and just listen to how they've grown and how they've developed. So, Ann, welcome to the show.
Hello, Tim. Nice to see you.
Tim, welcome.
Thanks, Tim.
So,
good to see you.
Tim Miller, Ann Brooks, thank you for being here. And we're going to learn about the business. We're going to learn about you. And what I like to do is start the show with just learning about you, understanding where you guys grew up, what you were thinking as you grew up, how your education developed, and how you got where you're at. So who would like to start?
Great.
Well, I grew up right here in Richmond, Indiana, in a large family. My parents had 8 children, which I'm the third. And we went through the Catholic school system and went on, had some college years, and didn't really know what direction I would be taking in life, but ended up in insurance.
Okay.
It was a good thing.
Yeah, sounds like it. But and as you were just a young child, what were you thinking career-wise?
I always knew I wanted to go into business, but I didn't really expect that it would be insurance. As a child, I thought it was like boring, and now I know better.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for sharing. Tim?
Yeah, I grew up here in Richmond. Been here all my life. Actually graduated from Richmond High School quite a few years ago. And then as far as my family, I had 4 brothers and sisters. And then after high school, I went to actually IU East. I remember going here, and there was only one building out here.
Okay.
And after I was at IU East, I actually got into the insurance business through a friend. When I was young, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I was wanted to be a professional athlete like all the other young kids wanted to be, but that didn't work out for me. Okay. And just actually got into the insurance business when I was 26 years old and have been it ever since.
Okay. Well, I have to ask because I've got to know, what was your sport?
Basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I love basketball and just still kind of play a little bit just to have fun with it, but it was just one of those things growing up in Indiana and being around it was something that you always wanted to do, like just about every other young boy wanted to be.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to learn about the business and how you guys do it, but you know, I'm a professor of business on the campus, and so business is the world I live within. But I can tell you that a lot of the athletes spend a good amount of time with me in the office and learning about business. And I love athletics because it's team building. And I think it helps a lot in business. And you two are a team. Right. And so I think that gives us a strong foundation. Well,
actually, basketball probably brought me into the insurance business. I was involved and around a lot of guys, and one of the guys that I played with was in insurance, and he kind of brought me into that, and that's where my start came, was through athletics that way.
Well, see, I see that a lot because a lot of our athletes, you know, they're uncertain just as you know, we all have been in business, and they start helping each other. And one of them will start venturing out, and the other one will watch, and the next thing you know, you'll see them all going in the direction.
Right.
And it's not uncommon. I mean, in business, even in undergrad for myself, I wasn't certain what I was going to do. I was going to be an accountant, no question. I knew that. So I took that first accounting class. And then I didn't know what to tell my parents because I knew I wasn't going to be an accountant any longer. And so luckily, when I took a marketing class, I fell in love with it. So that's what changed my life. So I'm sure each of us have a similar story. But
sure.
What I want to do is transition into business now because both of you are in the insurance business. And I think insurance is one of those businesses that you really love if it develops for you. And understanding why that passion and love is there is something I want to find out this morning. So Ann, why don't you tell us a little bit about the insurance business and how that bug bit you?
Well, once you get into insurance, it's kind of hard to get back out because that's exactly what happens. It ends up that it's a wonderful career. No 2 days are ever the same. So it isn't boring at all like I initially thought as a child. It's rewarding as a career to help other people in time of need and stress. I mean, we're there when they have claims, etc. And it's like working a puzzle at the front end to counsel with your client and learn what their needs are and feel that you've put together coverage in place for anything that could come up, that they're going to be properly covered and therefore protect their assets.
Okay. I'm sure that is interesting because most people don't really know what they need. And I mean, you start off with just the basic liability and such, and maybe talking about their car, and then maybe their home, and then they start finding out that they've got personal needs. And I mean, there's so much that goes into the liability of it.
Yes, and our clients, they grow. Like many times you'll start with a client and maybe their needs are, much smaller, and then they start building a family, they have children, they, get more drivers in the household, they buy a home, buy another home, go into business. It's just fun, the customers that we've had over the years that we followed from the very start to retirement and beyond.
I find it rather entertaining because, I mean, I understand insurance, I think, and here at the university, a lot of students don't have a clue when I start talking about insurance what I'm talking about. But I also think it's funny on the parent side because they don't realize how insurance changes until they get a teenager.
Right.
And so it's quite an interesting business. You're right. And so, Tim, let's talk to you about your transition into it. You said you were about 26 years old.
Right.
What intrigued you, and then is it the same?
Well, I've always been a people person, and in this business, especially in this community, in the small community, relationships matter a lot. And I've found it easy through my life to talk to people and to build relationships. And in the insurance business, there's a lot that goes into it, the technical part of it, but there's a huge amount of trust and relationship building that goes into it too. And over the years, I think that's what's happened to both Ann and I in our business. We came into a very successful insurance agency. And when we came in there, we were lucky enough to understand that you need to continue to build those relationships, and that's been real good for us through the years. And once those relationships build, just like Ann had mentioned, I mean, you start out maybe with just a little piece of business, and then it blossoms into a lot bigger piece of business for you. We've been lucky enough and blessed enough to have those relationships and continue to build those relationships, which is build our business.
Sure. Well, when I think of the two of you, I think you guys are like double dipping on the entrepreneurship side from a standpoint that you own Harrington-Hoch. Okay, so you're the owners, you're the entrepreneurs, but within Harrington-Hoch, you have to be personal entrepreneurs because you're having to develop your own portfolios, if you will, and all of your people that are selling for you are serving as entrepreneurs.
Right.
They're out there working for themselves, trying to build their portfolios. And so as we look at that, I mean, think about that person just starting into the career of insurance. How would you suggest, how do you work with them?
Well, we do have a lot of training available. We have a lot of, we can send them to, sales skills classes or insurance knowledge classes, etc. But we've more or less found that most people do best if they just learn by exposure to the field. So, we have a wonderful staff because they've been there and assisted from the beginning with the clients that we referred to. And what most of them have learned is that it is a very exciting career, and we encourage young people into our line of business. And if they come into it, I think they learn it is very exciting, and there's a lot of opportunities. If they don't want to be the face of an agent in the community, there's a lot of background positions that are highly respected in our agency, and we all count on those roles as well.
Sure. So it's a team building, and you guys all work together as a team.
Yes.
So
Right.
it makes sense.
Also, insurance is, especially the type of business that we're in, an independent agent, we sell all lines of insurance, and it's real important in the insurance business once you get started to, number one, to be able to talk to people, because you got to go after clients. I mean, you just can't sit and wait for clients to come to you. So you have to have somebody that is motivated to work. If they're willing to work hard, the financial rewards are endless. I mean, it's just incredible. I couldn't imagine when I got into the business so many years ago, 30 years ago, that it would have afforded me the type of lifestyle that I'm living now. I mean, it's just been incredible. But again, it's hard work, it's relationship building, and you got to continue to also keep up on the latest insurance technology moves that are going on too in the industry.
Sure. And I can imagine a lot of that changes because, I mean, times have changed, culture's changed, and responsibility, liability, all that stuff has changed and evolved. You guys know a lot. I mean, I've been around you, I've listened to you, I pay attention, and I mean, just like business, when I'm working with people who want to go into business, there's a difference in how you insure a business that has multiple steps. There's ways, the age of the building, whether it's a wood building or whether it's, you know, a concrete building. How do you guys know all this stuff?
Well, I'll tell you a little story. Years back when I first became licensed, an older gentleman who took me under his wing, he said there's so many, I was saying the same comments, there's so many things to remember or, you know, how will I answer questions if I'm not sure, you know, and the gentleman told me, in insurance, everything changes. It's constantly changing. So he said, if you feel like you're put on the spot and you're not sure, just say, I think that changed lately. Let me look into that. Because he said, you won't be not telling the truth because it is always changing. And that continues every day. I mean, look at the healthcare reform, everything.
Right.
So we do constantly have to stay abreast of what's coming down the pike. I mean, the new laws seminars, we go to how does the government affect the insurance laws. There is a lot. I guess you can get where you can forget the old stuff and grab onto the new because it is ever changing.
And at the same time, your customers are changing. So,
Yes.
so it's one of those where you have to juggle all the time. And just because you helped me last year doesn't mean I'm still set for next year. So
It keeps our minds sharp.
Right, and insurance is not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, that's one thing about insurance that we've found, that you work in it every day, and it could be the weekends, it could be at 3 o'clock in the morning. You don't know when something's going to happen that somebody's going to need you. And I think what's happened too is us working in this, and no account is ever the same. Nothing is ever the same. I mean, you could have a family that has the same risk, number of cars, number of drivers, but they're still different. It's just different. So I think working in that on a daily basis, every day, in and out, really keeps you on the know of what's going on in the insurance business.
I can relate and understand to that because I think nobody plans for a problem. Okay, nobody's expecting that. And I remember one evening, late at night, early morning, I was woken up by the weather, and I look out, and I didn't know what it was, but something flew by the window, and I went on back to sleep. And the next morning, I found all the shingles off the back part of the roof and half of the siding of the house laying in the front yard. I was sick. I thought, oh my gosh, what's happened? And as soon as I called the agent, and they said, everything will be okay. Do you need somebody out there right away? Do we need to secure something? I was so relieved because then I realized that's why I have you, is because for the protection.
Right. Well, that's what's so rewarding in this business, is to help somebody. I mean, you're actually protecting their lives and their assets, and you could be the guy or the woman who really makes their life. I mean, if something would happen to them. I've had calls at all hours of the night, and I had a client that came in the other day and just had bought a new house, and we were going through the process of getting the insurance, and I showed him what was going on, and you could tell he was kind of not fully engaged or not understanding, but what he said to me was, Tim, I trust you. And that's a lot of this business, is trust.
Sure.
Right. And I think that's been a big part. And when you can help somebody put their house back together, or put their car, or their business, or whatever it is, or take that life insurance check to somebody to a family that has had family member that has passed away. I mean, that's big, and
Yeah.
that's what's real rewarding about our business.
And I think that trust goes multiple ways, because the trust is not only do I trust you as a person, but I trust you to have me taken care of in the way I need to be taken care of.
Right, right,
And,
right,
and not that you're just trying to sell me something, but you're actually taking care of me.
right.
So I'm going to shift just a little bit on you,
Sure.
because here at the university I teach in the School of Business. And when we work with students, I mean, a student that comes in and says, I'm going to study business, and it's just like when you were a child.
Yes.
You say, I'm going to study business, and we're not sure if that means management, marketing, finance, accounting. It could be entrepreneurship. I mean, there's multiple things it could mean. They're not sure. I'm not sure. So we have to start just teaching business until they start really getting passionate and start getting hooked on something they like. Sales could be it, but at the same time, like you said, there's a lot of support functions too. But you guys have to practice all those things.
Right.
I mean, within your agency, within your organization, you have to have the marketing and the finance and the accounting and all those. Tell us about how you organize that.
Well, Ann and I have built a really good partnership, and I was fortunate enough too, before Ann was at our agency, to have another partner, Dana Alvey, and Dana was at the business for 45 years, and she kind of took me under her wing and taught me a lot of the business. And when she transitioned into retirement, Ann stepped right in, and it was kind of a turnkey to Ann. And we work really well together, and we split those duties up because in our business we have 15 employees with 2 locations. And there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, you'd think that it's just an insurance sales business, but I mean, like you're talking about, there's everyday financing, there's everyday HR, managing of the employees, you name it. Ann and I wear all those hats, and it's been a real learning experience for us. We've stumbled, but Ann and I have, I think, the same mindset that we understand that you got to take those risks to make things happen or be better. And we've stumbled a few times, like I've said, but we've really made strides too in what our business has been. So it's been really good.
So basically, you find the best person to do the job and work with them.
And we
really
learn
did.
to share the responsibilities with a strong team, which is really the key to the success, is the people that we bring in to assist. I mean, they get the reward of a good job, and we feel like they have a great environment to work in, and they can raise their families comfortably, etc. But we also count on them to handle the items that they're responsible for, because it's like a ladder. We need every step for the success at the top.
Sure.
And we've really been blessed with our team in that avenue as well.
Good.
And everyone has their little niche that they fit into. Some people might rather do the marketing for the agency than actually be out on the street hunting clients.
Sure.
Someone may just prefer doing the bookkeeping for the agency. Everyone that works there isn't a, quote, sales position.
Okay.
But-
Another part of business, though, those are all great. You mentioned 2 locations. So tell me about your locations. Where are they at?
We have 2 locations. Our main location is here in Richmond at 1126 East Main Street. We've
Okay.
been there for many, many, many years, right?
Yeah.
And we actually bought an agency in Cambridge City, Indiana, 12 years ago. And when we say we bought an agency, we bought their book of business, which is their clients. And we had a presence over there, but it wasn't a big presence. And just recently, within the last month, we've actually opened up another office over there, our own office now. And the reason that we did that in Cambridge was we have 3 employees that live in Cambridge. And the Cambridge insurance, I guess the agents that have been over there, they've had some turnover with retirements. And we feel that, that's we can make a headway over there and really become strong like we are here in Richmond. So our 3 employees that are located or live over there have a real presence. They're really hooked up in the community over there, so we think that's going to work.
So since you are in a networking business, I mean, you get to know the people.
Right.
It made sense if you had
Right.
that many employees there.
Right. So we feel that with our people that we have that are from that area and the hookups that they have over there, it's going to be good for us. It really is.
Okay. I think that's great because that's one of the questions I would always have is how you determine a new location. And it was
Right.
based on the network.
It
We
was.
felt like they were kind of insurance orphans because so many agents had retired and people like to, have face-to-face or deal with their local representation. And Cambridge seemed to be hurting in that area. So we
Right.
felt there was an opportunity for us to help the people there and,
Great.
and a good plan for us for growth in that western end of the county.
I'm sure it'll work out.
Right. Well, and again, you mentioned networking. I mean, the people that we have, Sarah Pennington and Anna Drake, that are our agents over there, and Vicki Shipe, they are hooked up. I mean, they are really involved in the community, always have been. They're from that area. And I think that's key to someplace when you go into. You have to have that. You have to have that presence that people know you. We think that it's going to take a little bit of time to get the momentum going over there, but once it happens, I think it's going to be great.
That's
I really do.
outstanding.
Yes.
Let's talk about hours because that's one thing I always like to ask the entrepreneurs, okay? And you have to think it through because you're not 9 to 5. You have to think about what you're doing before that, after that, and what do you suppose, each of you, how many hours a week do you think you put in?
Well, and again, I consider working hours a little bit different maybe because depending on what you're doing, I mean, it's a network. It's being involved with the community. It's being out there doing things. So, you might be in the office 6, 7, 8 hours a day, but then you might be someplace else after that or before that you even go into the office. So, you can put hours in, but they might be enjoyable hours too. They might be dinners, whatever it is, maybe golfing with somebody or whatever. So it's always like that. So I would say, depending on, if you look at it that way, it's probably a 50-hour week. It really is. Now, it could be less at some point, or it could be more. That's one thing about the insurance business. I mean, it's given us real flexibility to be able to do things that maybe a 9-to-5 job wouldn't let you do.
Sure.
And
No, that makes sense.
it's really given us a lot of flexibility.
It's one of the perks of
Yeah, it really
this
is.
business for young people looking for a career down the road. We really encourage them to look hard at insurance because we already know from experience it's a great career. I mean, it's unlimited income. It's as hard as you want to work at it, and it's very rewarding in that you get to help others.
Sure.
No 2 days are the same, as we said.
And I'm not going to let you get away from telling me about your hours, though. How many hours does you work?
I work about double what Tim does. It's just as Tim said, it's very difficult to put a number on it because you don't know. I mean, we know what our office hours are, but it's not unusual to get calls at home. Someone needs, something.
Sure,
So,
sure.
And
No.
of course, we participate in a lot of, not-for-profit or volunteer
Right.
hours as well, just to get to know people and because we care about our community. So I don't know if you'd count those hours as well.
I
but-
would. But, I asked the question on purpose because every entrepreneur I ask that question, a lot of times it's upward to 80 hours a week, and it can be more. But people don't realize it because they love it. And when you're doing it for yourself and your family and you're passionate for it,
Yes.
you don't count the hours. You don't notice it. Just about 2 weeks ago, I was driving through downtown, and it was, a weekend, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I just happened to look up, and you were cleaning the opposite side of the street.
Yes.
But I was passing before I could honk, and,
Yeah.
and I thought, wow, Tim is cleaning the opposite side of the street of his business. So,
Yeah, that's
Every Monday morning.
Yeah, that's just that's just one of the, when you own a business and you really want the business to be successful, I mean, you got to do extra things. You just got to. And that's just, we've adopted that, and I want our area to look good. And that's just another thing. You know, you're not the only one that has said that to me that they saw. I mean, again, it's a network thing. People see you out there, and that's a good thing.
It's a sign that you care.
That's right.
So
Yes.
I really appreciate that.
Right.
What's the greatest reward about being an entrepreneur?
Being my own boss, to be honest with you. It's been great. Being able to just about, depending on how hard you want to work, is it makes it that much more rewarding to me. Financially, it's been just incredible for us. I mean, our hard work has really paid off for us, and it's been a great thing for me. I couldn't see me doing anything different. Now, 30 years ago, I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to you about an insurance agency, but
Sure.
it's what it is.
Great. And how about yourself? What's the greatest reward of being an entrepreneur?
I would echo some of Tim's comments, but I also think it's been wonderful, the people that I've met through my career that turned from clients to friends. I've made a lot of relationships and just people that I'll carry with me the rest of my life.
And Tim, thank you for being on the show.
Great. Thank you, Tim.
This concludes another episode of In Your Business. Today we met with two very interesting entrepreneurs. And you know, the reason for their success in entrepreneurship is because they care for others. And I think when you have that as your foundation, you can't go wrong. Be passionate about your business. Thank you again for watching In Your Business.